GCSB bill is a real threat. And it's not just a threat to us New Zealanders, because we are seeing a trend here. The US government is the most power-hungry government out there. What they are trying to do is to know everything about everyone and using that information to further their power, further their economic interests. And GCSB is one of the puppets on the strings of the US government. And the biggest puppet of them all is John Key. Yeah. There was a poll on Campbell Live with 85% of viewers saying no to the GCSB bill. A day later, the Prime Minister gives interviews and said, I have the majority behind me. I mean, how disconnected from reality can you be? He doesn't listen to the people. No one wants this bill. We are all against it because it makes no sense for us as a democracy to give these powerful tools to our government. Yeah. And I want to ask all of you for a favor, because I know someone is watching us right now from Russia. His name is Edward Snowden. What's going on in the world today, and we need to support this guy, and we need to support any whistleblower who comes forward. Yeah. And his courage has inspired me, and I will never settle my case. I will fight until we know the truth, until we know every single detail. Thank you all very much for coming, and keep fighting this madness. Yeah. Give it up to Kim.com, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Make no mistake, under this law, we are all Kim.com. We are all Kim.com. Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is our first representative from a major political party. Please, a warm welcome to hear what he will do if he wins 2014. The leader of the Labour Party, Mr. David Shearer. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Great to see so many people here on such an important issue. The Labour Party opposes this bill. And we will fight it through the House with all the energy that we have so that this bad law is not brought in. Your privacy, our privacy, is precious. This law does not balance off our security with the preciousness of our privacy. It is bad law. It is bad law, and we will replace it in 2014. I have said that we will have a full independent inquiry. We want an inquiry not just into the GCSB, but into the SIS and the police and our entire intelligence agencies and the way that they operate. This has not been done in New Zealand since 1976, when cell phones weren't even a glimmer in anybody's eye. That's how long it has been since we have had an independent inquiry into our intelligence agencies.
And we've had a lot of people talk about what is wrong with this legislation. I've had to sit through many of the submitters, none of whose evidence has been included into this bill in any of the amendments. But I want to raise one issue. One issue. John Key, the Prime Minister, appoints the head of GCSB, his friend Ian Fletcher. Reports directly to him on all matters of the GCSB. John Key chairs the Parliamentary Oversight Committee that looks into the GCSB. He is the chair, he has the casting vote, he sets the agenda. John Key, and the Prime Minister, appoints the Commissioner of Warrants, the person who will sign the warrants off to spy on New Zealanders. He will also appoint the Inspector General of Intelligence, which will look into those issues as well. Can you see what the problem is with this particular piece of oversight? It is all concentrated in one place, and there is no country in the world that has that sort of oversight concentrated in one person. So my challenge to you and my suggestion to you is, if you think and you believe that your emails and personal communications are being listened to, I suggest you CC John Key. CC John Key. So instead of waiting for it to go through a middleman, CC John.Key@parliament.govt.nz.
Yeah.
And all the parties will oppose and continue to fight on your behalf. Thank you very much.
Yay!
Thank you, David. We will be holding you to account next year if you win. Don't you? Right, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah! Yes! Fucking oath!
It is so good. It's so good to see so many anonymous masks out here today. But isn't it sad that that's the only way you can be anonymous under this bill? Our next speaker, it's not a protest march until the buckets start getting handed around. It has cost a lot of money to get this up and going, ladies and gentlemen. If you have money in your pockets and you can share, please, the buckets are being passed around right now. Our next speaker is from the Green Party, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Gareth Hughes!
Yeah!
Kia ora, namahi nui kia koutou, kia ora, Auckland, you're looking fantastic today. Look, I'm proud to be standing here with you today as Kiwis are standing all across this country of ours, standing up for human rights. We're standing up for our freedoms, and I guess it's no surprise, but the Greens are committed to voting against this bill, and we're committed to an independent, thorough review of our intelligence and security services.
Yeah!
Hey, listening to Kim.com just then, I had a bit of a thought. Maybe Kim should change his name to Kim.co.nz. But you know, this isn't an issue just about Kim.com. This is an issue for all of us, every single New Zealander. This isn't an issue of left or right or Labour or National or Greens. This is an issue of right and wrong. It's an issue of our human rights and our freedoms. We've got to stand up for it. Let's not forget why these laws are going through this rush process right now is because John Key and the GCSB screwed up. They acted unlawfully. Screwing up and acting unlawfully shouldn't be an argument for rushing through and changing the laws. John Key and the government, they haven't made the case for this law. They haven't justified it. This is a bad law and it doesn't need to be going through a rushed process. Now, you don't have to ask Kim.com for that. You don't have to ask just the Greens or Labour. Ask the Privacy Commissioner, the Human Rights Commissioner, the New Zealand Law Society, and New Zealander of the Year Dame Anne Salmon. The changes we've seen coming out of the rushed select committee process are only cosmetic, and this law is only going to happen on the broad vote of Peter Dunn. Peter Dunn now is going to be going down in history as the man with his casting vote who sold our assets, and now he's the man who sold our laws and he sold our privacy. I've got hope, because human rights, freedom, our democracy, we all have a vision for that. We all want our kids and our grandkids growing up in New Zealand where this is paramount. We can change the law. We will see an independent, thorough review. We need to keep it up. Good on all of you for being out here today and all across the country. Keep it up. Kia ora.
Blue one. I got that one, the 16 one. It's a classic.
Someone needs to remind John Key that he is a Prime Minister and not a king. These powers are the powers of a king. The oversight he is giving himself is the power of a king. He's answerable to no one. And damn it, that's not the New Zealand I want to live in, and I know that's not the New Zealand you want to live in.
Yeah!
I couldn't be with us today. It looks like the GCSB is starting early.
Yeah.
I'd like to invite Mana spokesperson John Minto to the stage. John Minto.
Kia ora koutou, ngami nui kia koutou. I'm sorry if the people at the back can't see. We didn't set up the sound system very well. I'm sorry about that. And we've got a lot of people standing in front. But anyway, from Mana's point of view, we're not just concerned about the two bills that are before Parliament at the moment, but since 2003 there's been at least a dozen pieces of legislation that have been passed that infringe on the civil rights of New Zealanders. All of those bills need not just review, they need to be repealed and start again. There's two reasons that we should oppose the GCSB bill, and in fact, Mana would be calling for the closure of the GCSB. Let me give you two examples. The GCSB set up the Waihopai spy base in the late 1980s, and Dave Longy was the Prime Minister. And Dave Longy wrote in 10 years later, in the foreword to Nicky Hago's book, that he approved the Waihopai spy base being built, but he said he did not know what the Waihopai spy base did until he read Nicky Hago's book. In other words, the GCSB does not see itself as accountable to the New Zealand government, to the Minister of Intelligence and Security. It sees its responsibility to the NSA in America. It is answering to the Americans, not to the people of New Zealand. And if there's any doubt about that, in 2003, when the Americans were getting ready to invade Iraq, the NSA sent out an email to all of the Five Eyes and said, we want to get intelligence on the members of the United Nations Security Council because we want to pressure them, we want leverage on them to get a resolution through to justify the invasion of Iraq. So in New Zealand, we had the New Zealand government saying, no, we're not going to be involved in this invasion. We will not support it because it's illegal under international law. But behind their back, the GCSB was working really hard to give George Bush and Tony Blair and John Howard the justification for invading. So shame on the GCSB, it's got to go. The other reason we should close down the GCSB is that we're looking, with these two bills being passed now and all the others we've had over the last 10 years, we're looking at a surveillance society that Edward Snowden talked about, where everything you do on the internet, every website you visit, every email you write, every records of every phone call you make are stored. Every person's record is stored. And in 10 years' time, you might have a run-in with the police for some reason. And they may say, you're involved in some sort of campaign against obesity and you're protesting against McDonald's. And police might say, well, this is a potential threat to the economic well-being of New Zealand. So they go to the GCSB and they say, we want the records of this person going back 10 years and all of the information that you have shared on, not just shared on the internet, every email you've sent, every phone call you've made, the tracking of that, that is all brought into the investigation of you. So don't think it's a worry, it's looking just at what goes on in the future. This is from now, is going to be able to search everything you've ever done. It's an evil, vile piece of legislation, and we have to not just close that down, but we support the what the Labour Party said here about the investigation of the SIS and the GCSB, and we need to see that New Zealand starts from scratch. We do not need surveillance of this country to support the US empire and what they're doing around the world. We need it to be in the interests of the people of New Zealand. Kia ora koutou.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, the GCSB over the last 10 years has had a 174% increase in its budget. The SIS have had a 250% increase in their budget. Combined annually, they cost us over $100 million. We as taxpayers have built the very apparatus that they now intend to use against us, and that is outrageous. Please welcome to the stage Mike Treen, one of the coordinators of today's march. Mike Treen.
Yeah.
A song while Mike comes up. A song while Mike comes up. A song.
Don't hear any cars,
No, they've blocked it off up there now.
It's nice.
Okay, now for a little musical relief. Damien Salmon the other night said we have to learn from history, and that's been alluded to again today. This song talks about Germany in the 1930s and the 1940s. There was a pastor, Martin Niemoller, you've probably heard his name. He was like a bishop of Berlin. This is his story.
Oh, you're true.
Well, this is the story of Pastor Martin Niemoller, a leader of the church in old Berlin. In fear, he struck a deal with Adolf Hitler, who promised not to come after him. But Hitler had him rounded up anyway, for he was just another trouble-making priest. And he suffered 7 years in the Nazi death camps. And this is what he said on his release. First they came for the communists and I said nothing, for I wasn't one of them, don't you see? Then they came for the Jews and I stood by in silence. And I spoke not a word as they dragged them through the streets. Then they came for the Catholics, but I was a Protestant. So again I said nothing and pretended not to see. But when they came for me, well, there was no one there. There was nobody left to stand up for me. There was nobody left to stand up for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Mike Treen here yet. Mike, anywhere? Mike Tree? Mic check for Mike Tree. Yes, going. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the organisers today, Mike Tree. And I heard the speakers talk about how they pass laws and they never seem to go back on those laws. They only keep on expanding powers. I had the horrible thought that actually the first demonstration I went on against the expansion of the powers of the Security Intelligence Service was in 1977. And there have been dozens and dozens of laws continually expanding those powers. But what this law does, it's a qualitative expansion in the spying ability, spying powers over New Zealanders, because it's a completely non-discriminatory access to all of your information, and they create a picture of your life. It includes your work life, it includes your love life, it includes your friends, it includes whether your opinions. They can access it all, they can store it all, and they can use it as and when they want to. This is an extraordinarily dangerous, radical increase, a qualitative increase in those powers. And it's an awful aspect of it that this outfit, this Waihopai outfit and the GCSB, they use that Waihopai station to follow the calls, to follow the data, to follow the emails, that this is part of an international conspiracy effectively. That even the Prime Minister when it was set up, David Lomme, said he didn't know what it was doing until Nicky Hager wrote a book about it after he left office. That is no excuse. We know what they do. Nicky Hager's written his book. They collect this information, they share it with their 5 partners, with the United States, with Canada, with Australia, with the United Kingdom. And everybody who's contacted, every communication overseas, the spying is done as a network to spy on people who are opposing what these governments do around the world. And they have used 9/11 to radically expand their powers as well around the world to go after people, and including the horror of the drone strikes that we've talked about before, including the kidnapping of people off the streets of different countries and taking them to places where they can torture them. This is not a network that we should be part of. We have found out because of the brave work of Private Bradley Manning, the GI in the United States, who exposed the horrors being committed around the world. We have found out because of the work of Edward Snowden. And I'm going to ask you all after this to join me in a march down to the place where this empire is represented, down to the US consulate at the bottom of Queen Street.
Yeah!
We need a march. We need to let us see. We need to chant. We need to give that message. We need to declare our solidarity with Bradley Manning and Snowden and say, you are the true heroes. You are the representatives of the people of the world who want to expose what is happening and bring an end to this injustice that's been committed against them. We want them free. We want Snowden free. We want him able to travel around the world. We want him able to get his asylum wherever he can get it. We want him to be able to avoid being hunted down by those spy agencies. And he needs the world's people to have that around him. He needs the world people to be on his side. And we need to send that message to the United States consulate. So if you give us about 5 minutes and we move the sound system to the track, we'll set off. But please, stay around, join the march, make your voice heard.
Yeah!
Back in 5.
one last song before we set up the truck, and you can follow the truck down. Let me out, I'll be driving.
I've got my chant ready. No more spies, no bearers.
I should have just let
Kia ora koutou Council, we're pleased to share the song with you, inspired by the words of Dame and Salmon, and hope you enjoy it. This is the time, and now it's the hour, people stand up, we choose the power, glory and fighting hard, in religion of you, together we can get what they're trying to do. Together we can get what they're trying to do. Freedom of assembly, expression and thought, out and set for men, get their lives when they fall. Peace and human rights, now a done deal with destroyers overnight. Now a done deal with destroyers overnight. Without being lost, no soul, no more. Quietness and service, not to be trusted. Rolling out data, minutes of the busted. And now we see how they urge us to stand. They want us to shout against Mr. Gamer. They present by cloud. United we fight, our voices so loud. United we fight, our voices so loud. Politicians should serve out. They're not here to rule. They spend and they roll. But we are not fools. They're on the ground in our numbers. Measure cool. Just fly over the line.
Like the police are going to come and visit. Guys, come and sign the global peace and justice off and email us if you haven't already. Come sign the global peace and justice off and email us.
If your conscience free, you're waiting the power of GCSB. If you have stand up across the floor and stop talking of this thing before. Talking of this thing
New real estate signs are good for something. Yeah.
Right, everybody, we're going to take down the sound system now, about 5 minutes, and then we'll be on our way marching down to the consulate of the United States. Does anybody want to know a website where they can watch the video of all the speeches? Okay, you can go to. You can find it if you Google Mr. News on YouTube. That's MR News on YouTube. They should be uploaded by tomorrow with all the speakers, with wireless sound, HD, the whole works. So just Google Mr. News on YouTube, please, if you want to watch the video tomorrow. Thank you. Can we get